welcome back. Today's video is about an everyday experience from my role as a parent, essentially. So the topic is child's tantrum, basically meaning child completely losing himself, herself in screaming and very intense and interesting state, not interesting in a way that a scientist might find it interesting to study, and more interesting in the sense of something that shows itself that we can learn a lot from engaging with that. So what happened a few years ago, relatively often, was that my second son would wake up at night, was about 1.5 years old, and he would just scream. And the interesting part is that he would not want you to touch him. So he actually got out of bed, started walking around, screaming. He was not asleep anymore, and he wanted to be alone. So he went somewhere where he was alone. He was sleeping in our bedroom. He went somewhere where he was alone, and he would sit in the corner and face the corner and scream and cry. And if I would try to touch him or pick him up when he would go, that would like dramatically intensify his state, and he would completely freak out about it. Or if I would, once he sat, approach him, the same thing would happen. So just sensing the need for him to express something, to bring something in motion that's within him, and having the space to do that, I allowed me to just be with him. So how it would unfold itself was that I sensed that sitting, or actually being with him, was right. So it was about like 2 or 3 yards that I could get close to him, that he would tolerate. And I would just sit there. And now here is the most valuable inspiration, is that I did not want anything from him there. I did not even want him to stop screaming. Obviously, in a way that's also a bit selfish. Just it's at night and you want to sleep, so I just want him to stop. Would be understandable, but it would not be helpful to him and to the whole energetic situation. So I simply actually was very, very, very moved positively, loving, and also in a way worshipping or giving value to the fact that I simply have the privilege to be with him in this situation. And after a few minutes of sitting like this and him crying like that, I sense that it's okay to get a little bit closer and get a little bit closer. And then there comes a point where I can sense that it's okay to touch him now and just hold his shoulder or his back, just very gentle, and he would tolerate it. And then it would actually unfold that he then would rest his head on my lap after a few minutes of just gently touching his shoulder. And then he would rest his head on my lap and stop screaming and yelling, sometimes just a little, and then going back to silence, and then eventually falling asleep again. And it was okay, and not happening again in the same night. That happened a couple, like relatively regular, as I said, for a while, and then was not happening anymore. So the biggest invitation, the biggest inspiration here is to sense being and sense the wholeness of life and the beauty of everything, and being able to feel that even in a situation like this, because it enables you to not judge it and have expectations of, oh, now I need to do this or that, because that would be expected from me, from myself. I expect that, whatever. And simply sense what fits the need of the moment. And being free from a sense of agony or suffering within myself that then projects onto him, simply wanting him to stop. If I don't have that, if I still feel amazing in that situation, not being that I'm blocking myself or being non-empathetic, but just there is an immense beauty even in him having the space and the possibility to express and let go of something that seems to be so deep within him. And that is wonderful that it comes into motion and gets transformed, maybe by screaming and crying for a while. But then there's a lot of healing. There was a lot of healing involved in that. So if we have, if we are willing to open us for that perspective and not falling into the judgments of the situation, and allowing ourselves to still sense the beauty of the moment, the wonderfulness, and act intuitively out of that connection, we make beautiful experiences in the most unforeseen moments. For example, during a child's tantrum. Then realizing an immense beauty in that, and immense positive transformation, and being able to have an experience of this expression of life that we might have never thought of. So, I wish you a great weekend. please feel free to share if you have children or have similar experiences, share yours. And just be. See you soon.